you are gluttons for punishment. I see some familiar faces who've been here before. So you know what this is all about. Right? And what is this? The front row? But they're just all frightened. They think they're going to be hypnotized or something. Okay? Yeah, don't worry, we're picking on the second row this year. Hey, welcome to the 8th, we think it's the 8th, Acting Up presentation. Now, many of you may remember last year's Halloween show that we did, Cafe Murder. How many of you were there at Cafe Murder? Well, before we begin, let me tell you a little bit about who we are, okay? We are all residents of Camp Canal Walk, and we meet on a monthly basis. We get together, we read some short scripts, tell some jokes, have some fun, and we do that on the first Tuesday of every month. And we meet at 7:30 over at Freedom House. So, listen, after tonight's performance, I can guarantee that even you can join the cast. So, keeping with our tradition, there will be some opportunity for the audience to participate and add some color to our presentations. First, I want to ask you all, you're going to end up having to practice your parts, because we want to get started so you kind of practice what we're going to do here, okay? So let's see, who's got the groan? Dad joke. Classic dad joke. Who's got a laugh? Yeah, we're going to show that a lot, actually. One more.
At your discretion.
And if you come up with something else, go for it. Well, guess what? Just like you, we're going to be using our scripts as well. Because let's face it, we're just too old to try to remember all this stuff. Well, some of you asked us about this whole BYO on the program notes. What are you supposed to do? We just thought it would be fun after the show to have a drink with us. So we asked you to bring the booze. So I hope you did, because we're going to need a drink after the show. In fact, we may need one during the show. And listen, we want to thank Karen Anderson and the folks that she tried to pull together for helping with the refreshments, and the Canal Walk Homeowners Association for sponsoring tonight. Very important to us. So, how many of you are familiar with the holiday of Festivus? Well, for those of you who are not familiar with Festivus, if you're not familiar with Festivus, you can look it up on Wikipedia, or just do a search. It's on Wikipedia, believe it or not, or because it's an interesting history. And look it up on YouTube, and you'll have an opportunity to look at the Seinfeld segment in which Festivus was made famous. But one of the producers or creators and writers involved with Seinfeld, I think earlier on, came up with Festivus for his family. So there is a very interesting history, but go back and look at it. Tonight we have made 2 Festivus polls. Can you see one's here? Because all a Festivus poll was a poll. That's all it was, right? So if you're familiar with it, during intermission, you will have your opportunity to come and air your grievances at the Festivus poll or afterwards. You can air your grievances. But for liability reasons, we are not going to have any feats of strength. We don't want anybody hurt, and Jim back there doesn't want anybody suing him. So what we ask you to do is turn off your cell phones, turn up your hearing aids, and let's have some fun.
Well, you can see from your program that we're going to begin tonight with episodes from 3 different radio programs from the early days of radio. And we begin with the Fred Allen Show. The Fred Allen Show started in 1932 and ran for 17 years. You may remember it only from reruns that you've heard. Actually, Allen's Alley did not begin as a segment in the Fred Allen Show until December of 1942. He waited 10 years before he invented the idea of Allen's Alley. That's what we're going to do tonight. In this episode, Fred strolls down an imaginary neighborhood, knocking on the doors of his neighbors, Senator Claghorn, Titus Moody, Mrs. Nussbaum, and Falstaff Openshaw, who you will meet.
Mr. Allen, Mr. Allen.
The makers of Tenderly Tea and Bluebonnet Margarine present the Fred Allen Show.
We just added our own applause, that's all. Well, recently, Mr. Al Slater, a specialist in mental suggestion, made a phonograph record that he guarantees will put the insomniac to sleep. So our question tonight on Allen's Alley is, do you have any trouble sleeping? And if you do, what are you doing about it? So let's take a stroll through Allen's Alley here and see what's going on. You know, it's so quiet, you can hear the eel coiling in a bucket of whipped cream. Say, I wonder what the senator's got going on tonight. Hello, Senator.
Somebody else.
Hello.
Claghorn's the name, Senator Claghorn, that is.
Oh, yeah, well now.
Something tells me that you don't remember me, son.
Well, look, I
I'm from
remember
the
you.
South. I'm from the South, the corn and possum paradise.
Hey, now look, Senator.
Now, the only plant life I have around my house is a Virginia creeper.
Senator, now wait a minute.
Every time I get chicken pox, there's Southern pride.
Senator.
Remember me now, son?
No.
Don't say no in my presence.
Why not?
N-O, that's North abbreviated.
Oh, wait a minute, Senator. What about this sleeping problem we're here to talk about tonight?
When I first went to the Senate, I had plenty of trouble sleeping.
You?
After the roll call was called, I put on my seersucker nightshirt, my linsey woolsey beret,
Yeah?
and I faced the south, leaned back, closed my eyes,
And go to sleep, huh?
until some Yankee pigeon plucker would get up, start flapping his lips and breaking up my Morpheus filibuster. Filibuster, that is.
I heard you the first time, Senator. Are you still losing sleep?
No, I'll solve that problem, son.
How?
Well, when I'm ready to sleep in the Senate, I just sit back, croon myself a Southern lullaby.
And what is that Southern lullaby, Senator?
Rock the bright small fry on the treetop. When the wind blows, your cradle will rock.
That's the Southern
When the birds fly, I say, baby, you'll bow. And down will come the tree, cradle and all.
Well, very good, Senator. So long, Senator.
So long, son.
Well, Senator, stop testing time. I was dozing off myself. Now, I wonder how Titus Moody is doing.
Howdy, bud.
Hey, you're starting off to sound like Dennis Day, Titus. Tell me, Mr. Moody, do you have any trouble sleeping at night?
I only half sleep.
You're starting to sound like you only half sleep?
I got short eyelids.
With short eyelids, you can't close your eyes,
Only when
huh?
I frown.
The only way you frown. It's only when I can turn the page. Wait a minute, only when you frown? I was right the first time. Well, I see something there. I see that we're the only one awake. You're the only one awake at the farm.
No, daylight savings time has everything in a swivel.
You mean the animals are bewildered?
Yeah, my cow has insomnia.
Your cow didn't sleep at all?
The bags under her eyes are so big, I didn't know which end to milk.
You were confused, huh?
Yeah, the first time I milked the wrong end, I got 2 buckets full of homogenized tears.
Well, have you cured the cow's
I
insomnia?
got a book on it in hypnotism.
Good.
I stood in front of the cow.
Yeah.
I stared right in her eyes.
Uh-huh.
I waved my arms.
Uh-huh.
And I said, Alakazam, Alakazam, you're not a cow, you're a hen.
You're a hen? Well, was your hypnotism a success?
Yeah, today that cow thinks she's a hen.
Well, how do you know?
Well, she's sitting on a nest.
You mean?
Yep, she's laying eggnog. So long, bud.
And let's try the next door and see what we find.
No.
Oh, Mrs. Nussbaum.
You were expecting maybe Hoagie Carbuncle.
Tell me, Mrs. N, do you have trouble sleeping?
Who could sleep? Every night with his dreaming, my husband Pierre is waking me up.
He dreams, huh?
Always, he's different things.
Oh, dreams, these different things. How do you mean?
Well, one night, Pierre is dreaming he is the lone stranger.
Yeah?
All night long, he is yelling, "Hi-ho, Silver!"
Hi, old Silver, huh?
Upstairs is living a Mrs. Silver.
Yeah?
All night, she's yelling back, "Hi-ho, Nussbaum!"
I see.
One night, Pierre is dreaming he is in an automobile, a roadster.
A roadster, huh?
In his pajamas, Pierre is sleeping with the top down.
Oh, my.
Once he is dreaming he is in Alka-Seltzer.
Oh, Alka-Seltzer, huh?
All night, Pierre is fizzing.
No wonder you can't sleep.
Last night, he should drop dead.
Thank you, Mrs. Ann. Well, that brings us to the lavender shanty at the end of the alley. So let's see who's there.
You knocked 3 times. Do you think that's nice? In my last picture, the postman rang twice.
Falstaff, do you have some new poems tonight?
Well, I do. Indubitably hast heard, said the little bear to the big giraffe. Let's eat a hyena, just for a laugh.
No.
Or, when I call her baby, her face lit up, 'cause she had a lantern jaw, maybe.
No.
How about this? Mother's home putting spikes in her shoes. She's playing first base for their cruise.
Now wait a minute, Falstaff, you're exponent of Hackney. Tonight we're discussing the problem of sleep.
My poem awaits your bidding.
And what is the shut-eye sonata you called?
It's called My Recipe for Slumber.
And how does it go?
If you cannot sleep at night and you don't know what to do, My Recipe for Slumber is just the thing for you. Don't waste time taking powders. Don't bother counting sheep. Don't dawdle in a hot bath, hoping you'll fall asleep. Don't give up drinking coffee. Don't send for any gland man. You can eat and drink all night and still you'll meet the Sandman. My recipe for slumber is older than the Sphinx. Just cut 20 tibbles into halves and you'll get 40 winks.
Well, thank you, Falstaff. And next tonight's walk down Allen's Alley.
Easy Aces. Easy Aces ran nationally from 1930 to 1945. It was low-key, conversational, with clever absurdities in it. The writer, Goodman Ace, actually was a realtor in Kansas City. He began writing amusing programs for the radio station there, but in 1930 it was picked up by the Chicago radio station, and from there it was carried nationally. His wife, Jane Ace, was apparently a wife who was often user of malaprops, and I think you will hear a few of those in the episode tonight. It's time again for Easy Aces, starring Jane and Goodman Ace. Easy Aces is brought to you each Monday, Friday, and Saturday evening by the makers of Anacin. Many of you, I'm sure, have had Anacin recommended to you for the quick relief of pain from a headache, neuralgia, or neuritis. Perhaps a friend has suggested you try it. You may wonder why Anacin is so recommended in preference to other ways. The reason is that Anacin acts to relieve your pain effectively and remarkably fast. It's like a doctor's prescription. That is, it's a combination of medically proven active ingredients, and everyone knows that when your doctor makes out a prescription, it usually contains not just one ingredient alone, but several. If you have not yet tried Anacin, go to your drugstore now and pick up a box. Try it. Anacin, the next time you're in pain from neuritis, neuralgia, or a headache, try it on the proposition that if the first few tablets do not give complete satisfaction, you may return the unused portions and your money will be instantly refunded. Ask for Anacin, spelled A-N-A-C-I-N, in tins of 12 and 30, and bottles of 50 and 100 tablets.
Well, I tried to stop her, but Jane insisted that she had to go to a psychoanalyst. After a week of visits, and with a little rest and care, I'm happy to announce that the psychiatrist will be out in a few months. Psychoanalysis, you know, was developed by Freud late in the 19th century. But it never became popular until it was taken over by Fox in the 20th century. Jane's interest in the couch started the other day when she met my boss's wife, Mrs. Norris, on the street, and they had a chat about psychoanalysis, and it went something like this.
Well, Mrs. Ace, good morning.
Oh, hello, Mrs. Norris. Long face, no see.
Yes, where are you going, my dear?
Just fine.
Well, how have you been?
Just up to the corner to match this material for a dress.
That's good.
I hardly recognized you, Mrs. Norris. It's that sweater you're wearing, I guess.
Oh, my sweater, do you like it?
You look stunned.
My dear, I've never worn a sweater before I started going to my psychoanalyst. He told me my subconscious mind kept me from wearing it, and he made me get rid of my inhibitions. He did a good job on me, I can tell you that.
Oh, yes. He certainly fitted it well.
His name is Dr. Montel.
Dr. who?
Montel, M-O-N-T-E-L. He adjusts all your mental conflicts. It's done wonders for me, my dear. Every night I offer up thanks for Freud.
For who?
Freud, F-R-E-U-D. He's the man who founded psychoanalysis. Oh, what Dr. Montel could do for you, my dear, he'll tell you everything that's on your mind.
Well, all I have on my mind now is this material I want to get matched for a dress.
Oh, no, I mean on your subconscious mind. Things you don't even know are there yourself. For instance, look at me and Jonathan. He's as a devoted a husband as you'll find anywhere. And still, in spite of all his devotion, it has left me, shall I say, apathetic.
All right.
Last week, for instance, he said to me, "Margaret," he said, "you're certainly looking well." It was then I realized I had to go see a psychoanalyst, because my subconscious mind said to me, "Yes, he thinks you look well now, but how long will he think you look well?" That's when I went to see Dr. Montel, and what he's done for me, he told me what makes me tick. My dear, you simply must go to him at once.
First, I have to take this material matched for a dress.
Oh, I don't mean this minute. You'll have to make an appointment. He's so busy and so handsome. You can see what he's done for my mental conflicts.
Oh, yes, you're so cheerful and so ravenous looking in that sweater. Maybe I will go.
Tell him I sent you. Do you remember the name?
Oh, sure. Mrs. Norris.
No, I mean the doctor's name, Dr. Montel.
Oh, yes. F-R-E-U-D.
Well, all through dinner that evening, I noticed there was something on Jane's mind. If you'll pardon the four-letter word, mind. And after dinner, she sat there staring into space. So I got there staring into space, and we started to stare into each other's space. And finally, she said,
Dear, how do I look to you?
"You look vapid."
Yes, but how long will I look that way?
Well, according to the insurance statistics, your life expectancy is about...
No, you're getting off the subject. Do I look good to you? That's what I want to know. Now, come on. I want your candid opinion.
Well, my candid opinion is that you look very sweet. Wonderful, in fact.
Oh, my. I've got it, too.
I beg your pardon, what have you got?
Mental conflicts. M-E-N-T-A-L.
Isn't that awful? Now, what are you talking about?
I'm going to a psychoanalyst first thing in the morning.
To a psychoanalyst? Jane, you amaze me.
Not now, dear. Let me tell you why I decided to go to him. This morning, I ran into Mrs. Norris.
Hard, I trust.
And she told me she's been going to him, and you should see what he's done for her. She's wearing a sweater.
She went to a psychiatrist so she could wear a...
She got rid of all of her exhibitions.
Not a sweater. No, she didn't.
And just now, when you said how wonderful I look, it left me, shall I say, apathetic.
Apathetic?
A-P-A-T.
Jane, will you stop spelling at me? I know apathetic, and you're not going to any psychoanalyst.
He doesn't give you medicine, you know.
I know.
I tell him what's on my mind, and he tells me what's on my mind.
Jane, he wouldn't have a target.
Don't you understand, dear, when you just told me I look wonderful, and I felt, shall I say, apathetic, that means something.
Yeah, it means you look wonderful.
Yes, but how long will you think I look wonderful?
How long?
See, even you're beginning to wonder.
No, I'm not, Jane. We have no money to throw away on the foolishness like that. They're expensive.
Yes, but look what he does for you. He told Mrs. Norris all about herself and told her what makes her thick.
And she is. Jane, if you go to this guy, you'll wind up in a straitjacket.
Well, if he fits it for me as well as he did her sweater.
He will. Well, Jane got up early and went to see the psychoanalyst. The doctor was ready for her with pencil and pouch.
And you tell me Mrs. Norris sent you to see me.
Yes, she did, Dr. Montel.
Mrs. Norris, Oh, yes, she had a deep-seated neurosis. Why will people permit their neurosis to become so deep-seated if they would only come to see me earlier?
Well, you said 11:30, Dr. Montel.
Mrs. Ace, for your first visit, I'll take your case history. Are you comfortable on that couch?
Oh, this is fine, thank you. I like your office. Everything Mrs. Norris told me about it is certainly true, Dr. Montel. She said you were handsome.
Really? Well, now
And may I return the compliment and say, I think you're handsome too.
Well, now, so much for the doctor. Let's get to the patient. Tell me about yourself, Mrs. Ace.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm handsome exactly. But my husband thinks
Well, let's not discuss your husband for our first visit. Let's stick to you. Tell me, how do you feel? Generally, I mean.
Well, physically, if you'll pardon the expression, I feel fine. But it's the mental conflicts that get me.
What mental conflicts?
Like when my husband said last night that I look wonderful, my unconscious said, how long will I look that way?
Uh-huh. Something on the order of Mrs. Norris' anxiety neurosis. Well, I say I'll have to prescribe for you the same as I did for her.
Yes, I guess so, except that I want a much smaller size than she is.
What?
What?
Oh, Mrs. Ace, tell me, how long have you had these thoughts when someone compliments you on your appearance?
Since I saw Mrs. Norris yesterday.
Oh, then I'm sure yours is a mild case. I can cure you in this one visit.
But if I'm always going to say, how long to myself?
You won't always say that. I'm sure you won't. Mrs. Ace, I think you are a very charming woman.
Well, thank you, Dr. Montel. I think it's this new blouse I'm wearing.
There, you see. You accepted my flattery without a single thought to the contrary passing through your mind.
Yes, sir, I did.
You're cured, Mrs. Ace. It was a simple case, and you don't need a psychoanalyst. But I'm glad you got here when you did. Most people wait until it's much too late.
Well, I'm glad I got here at the psychopathic moment.
Oh, yes, and there are too many more important cases, what did you say when you got here at what moment?
The psychopathic moment.
Psychopathic.
Yes, well, goodbye, doctor. How much do I owe you?
No, just a moment. Lay back, please.
What happened?
Say that again. You got here when? Say it.
Dr. Montel, you're scaring me. You're getting my bearings balled up.
Getting your what?
Doctor, let me up. You're making a mountain out of Mohammed.
A mountain out of Mohammed.
Is something wrong?
Fly back, Mrs. Ace. You are a most interesting case.
I am, huh? I had a tuition there was going to be trouble with offering.
Tuition? Offering. Yes. Most interesting, Mrs. Ace. There is some force at work in your mind which telegraphs twisted and hastily visualized words to your tongue. Now, what is that force? That's what I want to find out in the interest of research. Would you come to see me for an hour every day and tell me the story of your life, from as far back as you can remember? Will you come?
Sure, if you think I have to.
Yes, very interesting case. We'll have our first hour now. Lie back, Mrs. Ace. Tell me the story of your life from as far back as you can remember.
Well, let me see. I'll start with my 5 years in high school.
Oh, Mrs. Ace, that's 4 years.
Not me, doctor.
Well, that night I refused to listen to anything Jane had to say about a visit to the psychoanalyst. But Jane found an interesting audience in her mother, who is now living on us, with us. I ought to tell you about Jane's mother. Her poor mother. She's in the last stages of a big appetite. She's been to every doctor in New York, including one veterinarian in Flushing. That was the day she said she was sick as a dog. And she takes a dozen different medicines. There's one medicine she takes every hour on the hour. It's called cutty sack. Some Indian remedy or something like that. So when Jane mentioned having gone to a doctor, her mother looked up quickly and said,
So the doctor said you've got psychoanalysis? It sounds exciting, Jeannie. Did he give you a prescription?
No, Mother. He's not like the doctors that give you medicine and take x-rays and put you in an oxidol tent.
What kind of doctor is that?
He's a psychoanalyst. He cures the mental conflicts and he makes you happy.
Well, if it makes you happy, be happy. Be happy. Personally, any doctor who won't give you medicine is a fraud.
That's right. F-R-E-U-D. He tells me what's on my mind. He sees right into my brain. Dear, now you stop that.
I didn't say anything.
Well, I don't like your altitude about this whole thing. Stay out of this.
Well, I don't like you spending money on psychoanalysis.
Money? After all, what is money for? If not to spend on doctors. I always say it's better to be well for one day than to be sick for 2 weeks.
I'm not sick, Mother. Look, here's the whole thing in a nut house.
Just tell me about Dr. Janie. He sounds very interesting.
A good question, Mother, and he certainly is. And the handsomest you ever saw, with office to match, tall and dark brown hair.
You know, I've always wanted a tall office with dark brown hair.
And when he smiles, oh boy.
No teeth, huh?
Dear, what did I tell you?
You said stay out of it.
Well, do it. Where was I?
The Dr. Janie. Does he have a regular doctor's office?
Oh, sure. Like every doctor's office. Young nurse, old magazines. And you have to lie back on this couch that he has and talk to him. There's a table on either side of the couch. On one table, cigars. On the other, cigarettes. And he says to me, lie down and relax. And I did. And he said, I want you to tell me the story of your life from as far back as you can remember. You can smoke if you want to, he said. So I took a cigar and started to talk.
You took a cigar?
Oh, it's in my bag. I'll give it to you later.
Oh, for me?
You see, I'm always thinking of you, and you sit there making sarcastic remarks.
So what did you talk about? Did you tell him where it hurts you?
Oh, no, Mother. I told him about what I did when I was... It wasn't very interesting. He yawned a couple of times. But I can take a hint. So tomorrow when I go, I'm going to make up a story to tell him.
You're going to go make up a story?
Well, I'm certainly not going to sit there boring him for a full hour every day. So tomorrow I'm going to make up a story out of whole wheat. He said it's a good thing I went to him as early as I did. Most people wait until it's too late, like Mrs. Norris, for instance. Do you want me to be deep-seated like Mrs. Norris?
No, Jane, that I don't want. Well, this is Friday, the day Jane hurried down to the psychoanalyst's office to continue telling him the story of her life. Only she noticed a yawn through most of the story she told him yesterday, so today she has made up a lot of exciting things that didn't happen, just to hold his interest. This is the day which will set psychoanalysis back 25 years, one which will be known in medical circles as Black Freud Day.
That's it, Mrs. Ace. Just lie back and relax, and we'll take up where we left off yesterday. I hope we can do as well today as we did yesterday on our first hour.
Oh, this is going to be a thriller-diller, Dr. Montel.
Yes. Let's take it from after your high school graduation.
Yes. Well, sir, doctor, you're going to like this. It was the summer I graduated. The heat was on, and we were driving home from a party, Sally Anderson and I and two fellows. The fellow she was with later left town. The fellow I was with later became Mr. Ace, my husband. You see, Sally and I always double dated. We've been insufferable friends for years.
Insufferable. Uh-huh.
Oh, yes. Always together like a couple of Simonized twins.
Simonized. Yes, go on.
Oh, yes, sir. Well, we were in the car and one of the boys was driving, the one in front. I was in the front. Sally was in the back with the other one. We were singing and laughing. You know how school kids are. Fool face and fancy free.
Full face. Well,
Yes, you know, just out for a good time. Not wild or anything like that. Or would you prefer wild?
what's that?
Oh, no, I guess you would. Well, we were driving along. On alongside our car came another car. And in that car was another boy I used to go with. And he was jealous that I was with Mr. Ace, who later became my husband. So I leaned over to Sally in the front seat and I said, "Isn't that Roy?" And she said,
But just a moment, Mrs. Ace. You said before you were in the front seat.
"Did I?" Well, she leaned over to me in the front seat and I said, "Isn't that Roy? Is that better?"
Yes, I believe it is.
And Sally said, "Yes, I believe it is." Well, Roy was so mad I was out with Mr. Ace, who later became my husband, that he wasn't watching where he was driving and he almost bumped into us. He looked kind of wild, almost besmirked, you might say.
Uh-huh.
So, Mr. Ace, the one who later became my husband, started to drive faster to get away from him. And pretty soon, we were going so fast. I'll tell you how fast we were going. We were 12 miles from town. Would you believe we made it in 8 miles?
You made it in 8 miles?
8 miles if I'm a day. And then, to clap the climax, we suddenly heard the whistle of a train coming around the hill. Oh, I forgot to tell you, there was a hill around the bend, and we had to cross the tracks. But there we were, going like bats out of a belfry.
Belfry, yes.
And we were going so fast, we couldn't stop. And the train was going even faster. We couldn't hear the train whistle. Woo, woo! And we were going, oh, oh! We all knew that if something didn't happen, this was the end. Well, goodbye, Doc. I'll see you tomorrow.
Wait a minute. What happened?
My hour is up, Doctor. To be continued tomorrow.
Well, that story that Jane made out of whole wheat turned out to be a cereal. While Dr. Montel was hurrying over to see his psychoanalyst, Jane rushed home to tell her mother and me what had happened on her second visit to the good doctor's office.
Well, sir, he didn't yawn today. I told him a story about being in a car with you, who later became Mr. Ace, my husband, and a train was coming around the hill, and it looked like it was going to hit the car. Then I stopped. Well, you could have knocked him over with a fender.
You mean you told him the story up to that point and walked out?
Well, I haven't figured up the finish yet.
Isn't that awful?
But Jamie, I don't understand. Didn't the doctor even examine you for bruises? You might have gotten in the accident with the train.
Oh, no, Mother. You don't understand. He isn't that kind of a doctor. He's a doctor for mental conflicts.
Mental conflicts. I never had those.
It's not like dizzy spells.
Yeah, it's something like dizzy spells, right?
Oh no, mental conflicts, it's for people who worry.
Worry? Who doesn't worry? Except for my sister, your Aunt Wilma. She used to worry all the time. And then one day she decided to stop worrying. And overnight her hair turned brown.
Mother, maybe you better come with me to sit back.
Yeah, I've lost track here. Jane, you're not going back tomorrow.
Oh, if I have to go back, I have to figure out a finish for the story and tell it to him. Wait a minute. Tomorrow I can't go. I took some material to the dressmaker the other day. I have to go for a fitting. Dear,
What?
you'll have to go in my place.
You want me to be psychoanalyzed in your place?
Unless you want to go in my place to the dressmaker for a fitting.
Yes, I'll go, Jane. I want to visit this doctor. Maybe I can help him. Well, the next morning I went to see Dr. Montel. His office was just as Jane had described it. Tall, dark, brown, and I was greeted by a nurse in a short leather seat at a desk.
Good morning. May I help you?
I want to see Dr. Montel.
Do you have an appointment?
Yes, 11 o'clock.
What's the name?
Mrs. Ace.
Oh, yes, I have it in my book. Right. Mrs. Ace?
Yes, Jane Ace.
Oh, to be sure. Well, the doctor will see you in a minute. Won't you have a chair, Mrs. Ace?
Oh, no, you don't understand. You see, yes, thank you. I'll sit right here.
Oh, no, not here. Over there, against the wall. That's it, Mrs. Ace. Just relax. The doctor will be with you in a minute. Don't get excited. Don't be nervous. Everything's going to be all right.
I'm not excited. You think he can help me with this cough I have? I'm not nervous.
That's right. Just relax. The doctor will buzz when he's ready for you.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, you're looking well today, Mrs. Ace.
It's just this makeup.
Pancake?
No, thank you. I just had breakfast.
The doctor will see you in just a moment, Mrs. Ace. Would you like to look at this magazine?
Well, yes, I don't mind.
No, don't get up. I'll slide it over to you across the floor.
Oh, thank you. Oh, it's the Ladies' Home Journal. Yes.
Yes, there are lovely new dress designs in this month's issue.
That reminds me. I wonder how I'm making out at that dressmaker. Having fitted over at the dressmakers that dress there.
You're having a fitting at the dressmakers later on, Mrs. Ace?
No, I'm over there now being fitted.
The doctor will see you in just a moment, Mrs. Ace.
Thank you. I have to go to the dressmaker for everything. I just can't simply get my size in ready-mades. Even hose, I have to have them made special.
Me too, Mrs. Ace. And the nylons they sell you these days? This morning I put on a brand new pair of nylons, and no sooner did I get here when I got to run all the way up to here.
Really? Up to where?
Look, Mrs. Ace, all the way up to here. Give me the buzzer.
Buzz.
Oh, the doctor will see you now.
Now he sees me? This is psychoanalysis?
Go right in.
Thank you. It's been nice almost seeing you.
Remember me to Mr. Ace.
Come in, Mrs. Ace.
Well, I'm happy to...
Well, I'm happy to... Who are you?
I'm Mr. Ace.
Oh, you're the one who later became Mr. Ace.
What goes on here? Yes, I'm Mr. Ace, and Mrs. Ace couldn't make it tonight.
Oh, no. Oh, no, I was hoping she would come. I've been on pins and cushions since you left here. I've been going Bismarck.
Bismarck?
I've been trying to write a paper on her history, but my bearings are all balled up.
Oh, brother.
Even my wife can't understand what's happened to me. And we've been insufferable companions for years. I can't explain it. I've always been so full-faced and fancy-free.
Hey, look here, you doctor. I don't want my wife coming here anymore. Will you please tell?
Not come here anymore. She built the story up to the psychopathic moment. And then she walked out. She's got to tell me what happened. You were in the car. You can tell me what happened. You were speeding along in your car, vroom, vroom, and the train was coming around the hill. Woo, woo. You couldn't stop. The train couldn't stop. What happened?
We were killed.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Ace. Thank goodness. You took a load off me. You were killed?
Look, doctor.
Hey, interesting case. Lie down, Mr. Ace. Yes, you. Very interesting. Now I want you to tell me the story of your life from, as far back as you can remember.
Well, I was born in a Wild West show at the age of 3. Well, that doctor will never forget that hour if he lives to be 12 years old. I fixed his wagon because the very next day in his office...
That's right. Just lie back comfortably and relax. Now I want you to continue the story from where we left off.
Well, Doc, after I got out of the Wild West show, I decided to become an Indian. Jan, dear, please, you're pushing me off the couch. Oh, move over, Jane. I've got to have some more room.
Move up a little. The palms of your feet are hanging over the edge of the couch.
I can't move over. You push over a little bit.
I can't. There's no room.
Well, somebody's got to move over.
Oh, great children. If somebody's got to move, if I've got to move, I'll move.
These cases have been brought to you by the makers of Anacin, the remarkable tablets that give effective and fast relief from pain due to headache, neuralgia, or neuritis. Anacin is like a doctor's prescription. That is, it's a combination of medically proven and highly regarded ingredients, not just one. So the next time you're in pain from a headache, neuralgia, or neuritis, remember Anacin, A-N-A-C-I-N. The tins of 12 and 30 and bottles of 50 and 100 tablets at any drugstore. And join us next year when the makers of Anacin and we bring you another visit with Jane and Goodman Ace, the Easy Aces.
This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.
Next, we're going to attempt to recreate an episode of Jack Armstrong, the All-American Boy radio show, which was very popular and ran from 1933 until 1954. Do you remember the Jack Armstrong show? Do you still have a secret decoder ring? You may remember that it was sponsored by Wheaties, and this is how each episode began.
Jack Armstrong, the All-American Boy. Wave like for what's high, boys. Show them how we stand. Every second be champion. Don't move up the land. Wheaties, breakfast of champions. Bring you the thrilling adventures of Jack Armstrong, the All-American Boy. Every
Yes, General Mills, maker of Wheaties, the breakfast of champions, brings you another episode in the adventures of Jack Armstrong. But first, mothers, treat your family to good nutrition and good taste. Wheaties, delicious whole wheat flakes, give your family 25 or more of 8 essential vitamins and iron that they need every day. Get Dad off to the job in the morning with a smile on his lips and a spring in his step. Send Sis and Junior off to school with healthy bodies to help healthy minds. A breakfast of Wheaties, milk, juice, and toast gives your family good nutrition to start your day and plus energy you need to get going. Won't you try Wheaties? Yesterday, miraculously unharmed in the crash of their light plane on the mountainside, Jack and Uncle Jim began to climb the faint trail through the forest despite the high wind and falling darkness. Leading them on is the hope of finding the mountain cabin that was marked on the scrap of an old map on the unconscious form of Babu, the giant Eurasian slave and vassal of their arch-enemy, Blackbird Flint. After the fistfight in the Shanghai Lily Saloon in San Francisco's Chinatown. Night is now approaching as Jack and Uncle Jim continue their search for the cabin. Their only chance for shelter and the one place that might give them their last clue to the location of the lost Chinaman's mine, America's only known deposit of precious Bretonium. Discovery that Blackbird Flint and other enemies of their country are desperately trying to prevent. When suddenly...
Look, Uncle Jim, I think I see it.
Where, Jack? Where?
Well, right over there. See it? It's getting so dark, the trees are so thick, we almost lost it.
By golly, Jack, you're right. If it wasn't for those sharp young eyes of yours, we'd have gone right past it.
Come on, Uncle Jim. Hurry, we've got to get to that cabin before Flint or any of his gang get there.
You're right, Jack. We can't take any chances. But I think we've got a good head start. They were in pretty bad shape when we left them in Frisco. I don't think Babu would give us any trouble for a while.
Yes, and Betty and Billy Fairfield said they'd fly directly here as soon as they notified the Navy's District Intelligence Office. But we've got to be the first to find that map to the lost mine. America needs the Bretonium or we'll...
Hold it, Jack. Let's check that window. I think there's enough light left to see in.
Right, Jack, Uncle Jim. See anything?
Looks deserted, all right. Just a few pieces of furniture. Now let's see how our luck is holding out with that door. Let me go in first, Jack, just in case there's anything. Nope, it's clear. Thank goodness. Come in, boy, and shut the door while I look around.
It's good to get out of the wind, even if it's almost as cold inside. Uncle Jim, look at that fireplace.
By golly, you're right. Somebody laid a fire. Wait a minute. I'm going to check the hearth.
Is it warm?
No, stone cold. But somebody's planning to come back. Wait a minute. Somebody's planning to come back and didn't want to waste any time starting a new fire.
Yeah, well, thank whoever it is. I don't think it's a friend. I'll just light this fire.
Jack, you think that's wise? That airstrip we were trying to reach when we had that crash is only 10 miles from here.
We don't have any choice, Uncle Jim. We've got to find the rest of that map before Blackbeard gets its hands on it and destroys it. This fire will at least give us light to search the cabin. Besides, we've had pretty long day and we need some rest and something to eat. No one, no matter how strong, can reach his goal and make the right decision without food and rest.
Well said, Jack. We've got to stay strong and locate that Bretonium, or the Navy will never complete their new submarine. I'll see if I can find something to eat on the shelves over there. Jack, we'll have a feast. There's enough dried and canned food here to last out the winter.
Uncle Jim, come here, quick.
What is it? Did you find something?
kneel down here with me. See that brick left of the center in the back of the fireplace? The one that's a little different in color?
Yeah, I see it.
See, I think I can make it loose. Now, if you hold on to me, I'm going to reach around the flames and see if I can pull it out.
Careful, Jack.
Oh, it's coming out. Oh, and there's something else stuck in there, too. If I can reach around, I got it. Uncle Jim, we found it. We found the map.
Stay right where you are. Blackbeard, Flint.
And Olga.
Yes, darlings. Little Olga. How nice of you to remember. And how sweet of you to remember a cozy fire to welcome us. It is sweet of them, isn't it, Flint?
Yes, very accommodating and very foolish. We might have stumbled around in the woods all night without that fire to tell us where you were.
And when we saw you having such a lovely little party, we thought we'd drop in.
But I don't understand. How did you know we were here? And how did you manage to get here so quickly? And Olga, I thought you were still in prison.
No, never mind, Jack. It's too late for questions. Flint, you can put away that gun. There's no need for that.
No? You think I am fool enough to trust you, you imperialist aggressors? You think I can forget the humiliations I have suffered because of you? The defeats my government has met through your meddling hands? Never. Never. It's our turn now. Revenge has never been sweeter.
What happens to us is not important, Flint. But you cannot defeat America, for our cause is just. We have right on our side.
Ah, Jack Armstrong, you are a fool. All of you Americans are naive fools with your talk of justice and righteousness. Strength is right. Power is right. And now we have all the Trentonium in the world, and you have none.
Oh, no. No, you don't.
Uncle Jim, be careful.
Watch out, Flint.
Uncle Jim. Oh, Uncle Jim. Flint, you devil. What have you done now?
As Jack looks on in horror, Uncle Jim lies prone across the fireplace hearth, a rivulet of blood coursing down his forehead. Is Uncle Jim really dead? How can Jack Armstrong save the secret of the precious Tretonian mine from the dread enemies of his country? Tune in next year.
Jack Armstrong. Jack Armstrong.
The all-American boy. Kids, how would you like to be the first on your block to own a genuine Jack Armstrong whistle ring, each with its own secret code? Astound your friends with your uncommon ability to give commands, decode secret messages without saying a single word. Just send 25 cents in coins and 2 Wheaties Bachtoms to General Mills Secret Decoder Offer, care of Kathy Vaccaro, 100 Schoolhouse Road, Somerset, New Jersey. This is Bowling for General Mills, inviting you to tune in next year for our next exciting adventure of Jack Armstrong, the all-American boy.